Hey, property management friends. Welcome to This Week in PM. I'm your host, Jeremy Pound from RentScale. Excited to be back from Austin, and I'm going to tell you all about why that's actually important and our updates today. But in case you've been missing us live, here's a recent highlight from a past episode.
A lot of seniors are deciding not to go to a care home, to a senior home, and just decide to turn their property into an accessible property, to turn their home into an accessible home with all the things that they need to age at home. I expect to happen is that the number of these accidental landlords will increase as the baby boomers come into this decision-making intersection also. Based on that fact, that means that there will be more demand for property management services, specifically from the baby boomers, even though some of them would say, yes, I have some spare time right now to manage the property myself. A lot of them would want to finally devote the time for their family after maybe 60 years of work, and managing a property is a lot of work. My take, I would say that the majority would turn to professional property management rather than do it themselves. So this is another thing that will push the demand even further.
So we share those updates while everybody joins on live, but be sure that you're subscribed to us on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, or X, so that you can watch these industry episodes live and be the first to hear about what's new and trending. But like I mentioned, let's jump into the show. I am back from Austin. We had an amazing summer retreat. This was our first annual RentScale summer retreat. We got this amazing mansion on 33 acres out in the middle of nowhere, just outside of Austin. It was absolutely amazing. It's what we do when we run a remote company where people don't get to see each other all the time. We got to build culture, we got to play, we get to have a fun. And of course, you've probably seen this on social media. We got to build a ton of images and videos that you guys got to see. I highly recommend it for your team. I have followed many mentors and other agencies and firms that I've worked with many times that are very successful, and they always indulge in this kind of culture building activity. And I cannot stress enough how great it was for us, and I hope that you guys will consider that. Maybe that's a missing ingredient for you guys to build a competitive advantage into your company and to have your team playing full out because they're having fun, they're getting to know each other, and by the way, you're creating a ton of content that you get to share on the interwebs. Speaking of that, while we were there, once we let the team go away, Jen and I stuck around and we did the hard work, and we walked through the drudgery of 95 degrees in Austin, which felt like 110 degrees. And we went to multiple venues to try to decide, where are we going to host Sales Mastery? I don't know if you know this, but Lead Simple University has moved to Austin. We had Sales Mastery in Austin last year. And so we said, hey, we would like to collaborate and really turn Austin in December into the South by Southwest of property management. We want all of the cool kids in property management to be there. And so we were trying to find an amazing location. We found one last year and we quickly outgrew it. We had 70 to 75 people, I think, and we were absolutely a packed house. We're looking to double that this year. We're looking at 150 plus people. So I've got an announcement to share with you. We found a location. Jen and I did the hard work. I want to show you this quick video that we just shot on our iPhone about what we're going to do. So George, show them what we're doing in Sales Mastery.
Whew. It's warm out here in the middle of summer in Austin. We're walking around touring different events, different event venues, trying to find the place for our next big event, which will be here in Austin. Luckily, it'll be a little cooler because it'll be in December. And so I thought it'd be a great time to shoot a quick little video and let you know that we've got a big announcement to make. Welcome, Jen. What's the big announcement?
Hey guys, guess what? We just booked Sales Mastery 2024 and we are going to be at 800 Congress, bigger and better than ever, almost double the size. So can't wait to see you all here. Can't wait to celebrate with you guys and learn some sales technique.
Grab your tickets, guys. It's going to be bigger and better. We got this amazing event behind us. It's going to be bigger than anything we've ever done before. It's going to be huge. We're excited to share with you guys. If you don't know what Sales Mastery is, check out these footages from previous events.
All right, are you guys going to sign up? We're going to drop the link in to the live chat by the end of the call. Love to see you guys in Austin for Lead Simple University and Sales Mastery. I think it's going to be absolutely amazing. Well, what we want to do today is share with you everything that we're seeing in the industry. We want to share our scoreboard with you. We want to talk about what we're seeing with our biggest and best clients who are crushing it. I want to talk about the challenges that we're going through. I want to talk about what people are seeing in the industry. That's what today's episode is all about. So we're going to go through our scoreboard with Jen, who you just saw in the Sales Mastery event. And then we're going to bring Jen and Reece on from my coaching team, and we're going to share everything that we have about what we're seeing in the summer real estate market. So I'd like to share the scoreboard video, but first, a word from our sponsor.
This episode is brought to you by Strategic PM, the magazine for property management entrepreneurs and executives. If you go online to strategicpm.com today, you're going to find an entire website full of content written about your industry and by your peers. And it's completely free to sign up. Just go ahead and click on the create a free account right in the upper right-hand corner. When you click on that, not only can you create a digital account, but you can actually add your mailing address and we will send you a free 1-year subscription of the print magazine, which will be showing up in your offices every single quarter. So if you take a look inside the magazine, what you're going to see is that we are focused on growth. We've got 5 pillars of Strategic PM: vision, strategy, culture, marketing, and experience. You're going to be seeing some great high-class content from some of the best thought leaders in the industry talking about the matters that matter the most to your business. So sign up for free today at strategicpm.com and look for the magazine in your office.
All right, let's check out the scoreboard with Jen.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another Scale Club scoreboard update, this time for the month of June. Now I know what you're thinking, Jen, we're in the 4th week of July. What are you talking about, June? We are behind on our Scale Club scoreboard updates, and that's because we had the opportunity to go out and build our RentScale culture with our annual team meeting. We got to head out to Austin, meet some team members that we never had met face-to-face, and just really enjoy each other's company. We talked about real estate, we talked about property management, we had a quarterly meeting and everyone learned a lot, but we also built the relationships within our company. So we're behind, but we are gonna catch up. I've got a scoreboard update for you for June this week, and in 2 weeks, I will have July to catch us back up. So without further ado, let's talk a little bit about June, because we saw some really interesting trends come up in our community for June, and I would love to share those with you. So first thing I want to point out is that a lot of the numbers for June are actually down. See a lot of green arrows on here, but the big numbers are down. We decreased lead volume from May to 16, which is down about 16%. And total number of doors closed across our community is down to 371 from about 425 last month. So we have seen some decreased activity when normally we see nothing but increased activity this time of year. June, July, August, and September are usually some of the biggest months to bring on new doors. So forecasts anticipated that we would be in that spot. So as you can see here, we're at 78% to goal, whereas last month we were at 116. So lots of different things kind of moving, shaking, and changing. And we've been talking with our Scale Club community a lot about that. But it's not all gloom and doom. We did see some of the people in our leaderboard increase their number of doors for the month of June. And we are seeing people level up more and more, and there's more and more BDMs up in that 30-door range, which is really where we like to see you guys. So Chicago, Illinois came in at 39 doors. Modesto, California set a record for herself at 33. Detroit, Michigan at 25. Definitely someone to watch there. He's absolutely killing it. Denver, Colorado at 19, and Memphis, Tennessee at 19. So let's talk a little bit about what's driving these numbers and what we're talking about in our community and how we're overcoming this and selling through it. So one of the things that our community has really been experiencing is a decrease in overall lead volume. We think that that's because a lot of people are just not sure what they're going to do. There's a lot of uncertainty out there about, do I move out? Do I rent my house? Do I sell my house? Do I even make a change at all? This is very common in election years. We see this happen. It just creates a lot of different uncertainty, but also we're seeing some shifts in the real estate market. Maybe more back to normal, but still it's a shift from what we've been used to since COVID came. So lots of tire kickers, lots of people just checking out options, doing some research, but no hard hitters that are really looking to make a lot of decisions. So how are we leveraging that in our community? Well, a couple different ways. So we're really focused on outbound prospecting. I would say that's the number one thing that everybody's doing is when things are slow, how else am I going to go out there and really generate business? So we're talking about how to certainly leverage the leads that you have good conversations, differentiate yourself, provide really strong customer experiences. But we're also talking about when lead volume is down and number of conversations are down, we've got to go out there and put more into the top of our funnel. So calling for rent by owner, finding investors on bigger pockets, lots of different methods that we're using and scripts that we're working on to help our BDMs be more effective when they're outbound prospecting. That's something that we've been leaning into heavily this year and are really owning is outbound prospecting activities and making sure we're doing them consistently. The other thing people are very focused on is real estate agent referrals. No surprise, this isn't something new to the community at all. These are ongoing. However, more and more effort is being put in to nurture these real estate relationships. If you really think about a realtor's world today, they're oversaturated. There's so many agents. Lots of people got licensed during and after the pandemic. And so everybody knows an agent. Look around. Everybody's got some family member or friend who has their license. And so it's becoming harder and harder to capture that business. But also the shift in real estate is also causing things to slide back. So although demand has stayed pretty even keel, supply is still really low, which you think would actually increase demand. But because of the uncertainty, because of the interest rates, because of maybe even the election, people aren't moving as quickly. So as a real estate agent, things look a little sparse. So we've been finding some really unique ways of going out there and talking to agents to help them build their portfolios with investors. If we help them, they in turn help us, and it all kind of trickles down. So we've been working to collectively come up with how we do that. If you want some ideas and you want to get into the weeds, you can email me at jennifer@rentscale.com, and I'm happy to give you some ideas and techniques. If you'd love to join our community in these conversations, we certainly would love to have you. But we're hoping that some of these things are going to mean a little bit of a turnaround for July, August, and September. So I'll be back at you in a couple of weeks with the July scoreboard update, and hopefully we'll see some things turn around. Back to you, Jeremy.
Thanks, Jen. Guys, I just want to share with you the amazing work that Jen is doing, putting these scoreboards together. We are at our 1-year anniversary of the RentScale Business Development Scoreboard. So if you're not following this already, obviously you can come here and you can see it on This Week in PM. But I also want you to know that we've got all of these archived at rentscale.com/scoreboard. So if you go to rentscale.com/scoreboard, you're going to see an entire year of the Business Development Scoreboard. We think that working with over 100 companies at any given time, 70, full-time BDMs, we are basically the best source that we can think of that we have found for what is happening with lead gen in the property management industry and business development. And that's why we've been sharing that information. So you're going to see a lot more from us. We're partnering with Profit Coach. We're doing a new survey. Just want to tease that. I'm not supposed to talk about that yet. You're going to see lots of information about that we're going to be collaborating on. We're going to be sharing a ton of information about this at Lead Simple University and also, of course, at Sales Mastery. So we think that we've got our pulse on the best of business development for property management. And I hope you guys are tuning in to watch that. And I hope that you guys appreciate all the work that we're doing just go to rentscale.com/scoreboard. You can see all of this information. You can say, okay, is my lead volume up and theirs is down, or is my lead volume down and theirs is up? What am I doing? How am I benchmarking against what they're doing? So that's why we do this. And shout out to all my live attendees. I love it. Peter Lohman, thanks for commenting and chatting. Great new podcast that just launched today. I see him in the comments. This is why we do this live. So we're about to jump into what we're seeing in the real estate market. And we do this live so that you guys can come here and you can ask questions. So feel free to chat in whatever platform you're on, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, X. Still getting used to saying X instead of Twitter, but we're there. Whatever you're seeing, go ahead and comment. We can see the questions and we're happy to answer that. But I'm excited to welcome our guests. So I've got Jennifer Merritt, who works with our owners in the property management industry. I've got Reece Register, who's working with our day-to-day BDMs. And we want to tell you about what we're seeing in the market. So let's bring them on stage. Excited to see you guys. How you guys doing?
Good. I'm nervous. If Peter's watching, I just got really, really nervous.
No, he's your biggest fan. Don't worry about it. All right, guys. So I'm excited. We talked about this. We've been putting together data. We're going to share some ideas. Some is a little anecdotal. Some is a little more quantitative, which is great. But one thing I just want to share with our listeners that I'm a big believer in is that there is no national real estate market. I mean, let's just be honest, right? When you think about real estate, what are the 3 best rules of real estate? Location, 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 right? Like all real estate is local. So there is no national real estate market. We're going to talk about some trends today. We're going to talk about what they're seeing, and I don't want to speak for Jen or Reece, but in general, anytime we talk about an overwhelming dynamic or like a momentum, we just have to realize that maybe the person in Columbus, Ohio, like Peter, is not experiencing what I might be seeing in Miami, Florida. And so I'd actually like to put this up on the screen if you don't mind. So there's a great newsletter that I've talked about. It's the second best newsletter in the industry after Peter Lohman's. And Resi Club is really more of a residential real estate. It's really more for investors. And I think it's absolutely fantastic. Everybody talks about real estate as this giant thing. We've got asset classes. We've got multifamily versus single family. They are very different, I promise you. And I can talk all day about why they're different. We've got locations. We've got markets. We've got 1 bedroom versus 4 bedrooms. We've got B class versus C class versus A class. All of these things matter. So there is no national real estate market. Yes, there are trends. We're probably all dealing with the same rates and we're all dealing with the same shortage of supply and increase in demand. And you know that I've talked about on the show and in the magazine many times about what immigration is going to do to the demand versus supply. But I want to show you this. So this is an amazing market image from Resi Club, where he basically says, okay, this is what has happened to inventory and prices over the last 4 years. So we all know about what the pandemic did to the market. So we all kind of wash out, like take the pandemic out, what has happened in the marketplace. And this is a great image of over the last 4 years, is supply up or down? And you can see how crazy it is. So on the left, you have 50% less or more. 50% less inventory. On the right, you have 50% more less inventory. So what's crazy is in my great home state of Florida, if you look in the bottom right-hand corner, the manatee of the USA, when you look at the image, you will see that in Miami, we have 50% less inventory than we had pre-pandemic. But if you move an hour and a half away to the other side of Florida, you look at Punta Gorda, we have one of the most voluminous amounts of new inventory. So they have 50% more inventory. Everybody is selling, nobody's buying. And that's what's going to happen in your state, in your market, right? 2 hours away, you might have one of the most constricted inventory levels versus maybe the most abundant levels where prices are dropping. So I just wanted to show this chart. This is amazing. If you look at Resi Club, we're going to drop in the image to this and the link because I think it's just amazing. So now that we got that out of the way, we can drop the graphic. And just the idea is that there is no national real estate market. It is going to vary based on where you are, and that makes a big deal. But you are talking to 3 people who are dealing with markets all over the country, and that's what I wanted to bring in. So, Reece, I'm going to start with you, if you don't mind. Just give me your general thoughts. What are people talking about in Scale Club, and what are BDMs just kind of generally thinking about right now?
Yeah, so kind of piggyback on the graph that you just showed of the chart. Definitely markets are different. I mean, I live in Tampa, Florida, and we have a client in Orlando, and the way that they're shaping up versus what Tampa, just 100 miles down the road, it's definitely very, very different in the way that we're having to navigate those conversations. Inside the community, though, what we're seeing is one of the weirdest summers that they have seen, especially what I have seen in the last 6 years, is we expect to come out of May very, very strong. Landlords wanting to make those decisions during the summertime when school's out, and it just got off to a dead start, as Jen shared in the scoreboard in June. But what we have seen as we're rolling into July is this sudden rise in what we refer to as accidental landlords. They've tried to sell their home, that's unsuccessful, and now they're having to look at the rental option, which has a couple of barriers in it right now. What we're seeing is longer days on market with properties that are out there for lease. So they're having to navigate that conversation a little bit differently, kind of set the expectations in a different way so that they have a price adjustment plan. But we're also seeing realtor partnerships really, really flourish right now, because if you've got a good network of real estate agents that you've been working with and you've been outbound prospecting, they're hand feeding you leads right now because they don't want to lose that relationship with the seller. And they're immediately teeing that up for our property management teams to go out there, put that in their secure property management garage, keep the relationship with the realtor, and then be able to turn that back over to them a year or two from now when the conditions are better to sell that home and the appreciation is taking place. So it's been pretty interesting. Definitely a different summer than I've seen in my 6 years in the business.
That's great. And just to kind of, drill in on that, what is it about summer that's different? What were people thinking as we moved into this season versus what are you seeing?
So I think our ideal clients that our property management companies are looking for, they were thinking that they're going to come out of school's going to end, interest rates are going to go down at some point. So they had been kicking that can down the road, and that hasn't happened. So they had 3 options. You can either try to sell the home, maybe you are able to break even on it. You can look at renting the home, which is where they call us, or you have that third option that nobody really talks about. It's taking a credit hit. Is that a foreclosure? Is that a short sale? Because you've got to get out from under it in those situations. That's the accidental landlord side of it. But what I have seen on the investor side is a slowdown on new property purchases, but I have heard a lot of underperforming management companies, those owners that have been with them, making decisions this summer. So we have seen some of that where they're already had the property and they're transitioning, but it's just not the newer investors that we're typically used to in years prior.
So given that you did this role as a BDM for a long time and then built a BDM team and you're coaching, is it an oversimplification, or is it a fair assumption that changes in a property manager decision or a contract tend to concentrate themselves on when a renewal is up? So maybe I don't want to fire my BDM with a tenant that's there and there's 2 months left, but when I know that tenant's moving out and there's a new lease up, does that create like a ton of opportunity? Am I misreading that?
Oh, no, it's a ton of opportunity. That's actually one of the angles that we teach, we call low-hanging fruit, is go back to deals that somebody had reached out to you during the summer over the prior years. And that should be around lease renewal time to give them a call and say, hey, how has it been with your property management company? It's been about a year. It's been 2 years. So there's definitely a driving decision point on that when you've got a renewal or you've got a vacancy because they're non-renewing, but also just in general, you have a majority of your leases that end during this 3-month period during the summer. So that's why we get that active summer pipeline that typically builds up, which we haven't totally seen this year. Really starting to peak out here in July. Hopefully we get a bigger bump going into August, but there is definitely something related to I'm at a crossroads now. It's an opportunity to make a change. If I want to make a change, I've been getting a slow drip from Mango Tree Property Management and all the cool new things that they have. I've got a renewal coming up. Maybe it's now time to explore that option.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing that. So, Reece, that's what you're hearing from the average day-to-day BDM and what they're going through. Jen, I'd like to hear what owners are talking about. They're still calling us. They're still trying to grow their property management company. It sounds like the well has not dried up entirely. Like, what are you hearing from owners out there right now?
Yeah, well, I think Reece is spot on when it comes to what's happening in the real estate market. I think that there's a lot of an affordability crunch. And so that's driving a lot of the things that he just shared. So I really agree with that. And that is driving property management companies to start really thinking outside the box. So when we talk to owners and when we're working with owners, there's a couple things that I'm seeing. One, there is a major investment into growth in property management companies and outside the box thinking of how to grow and what does that look like. And so more and more people are stepping into this idea that if you want to get different results, you've got to do something different. And they're bringing on business development managers and having those people do different outbounding and networking activities besides the obvious. So our clients have really seen, I think, the idea of having these business development managers is really not just catching fire, because I think it already had, but it's starting to increase even more, knowing that they have to do something different within their property management space. So here's my take and thought on all this as I talk with all these owners. There's a lot of real estate agents coming into the market right now because their real estate business is starting to dwindle down. There are a lot of people who are struggling who had previously been thriving. And so they're starting to come into the property management space. As they come into the property management space, the existing property managers who have been in for a long time are thinking, okay, the market's getting a bit more saturated, so I've got to level up. And so you take these real estate agents who sometimes have big books of clients and lots of relationships and leverage because of that. And it's like, how do I compete with that and make sure that I still grow my company? And I think the really cool thing is a lot of the established property management companies in this are leveling up through operations and technology and differentiating really through an elevated customer experience. So we talk a lot about the flywheel here at RentScale, and we talk a lot about what that means for us and what it means for our clients. But I think that there's going to be a deeper focus on providing their current clients with great experience. So those great experienced clients then go and give them business from those accidental landlords that we're seeing come into the market. And that is the flywheel. So huge focus on that. And then the other thing that I'm seeing is owners in our space are starting to outbound and network differently. There's a lot more weight put on these things, not just doing it, but doing it different. So while I agree with Reece, real estate agents is a fantastic place to continue networking with and keep referral partners going with, I think that it becomes more and more important that you get creative with what you're doing. And we've got BDMs in club who are actually reaching direct to end investors and spending more time prospecting with those accidentals and those end investors and helping people level up in that space. So that's really what I'm seeing with our clients, just given everything that's going on in the marketplace right now.
That was great. I really appreciate, kind of getting both takes on that. Well, let's really break it down. So we know, Jen, what you just said is what is important for our clients. But one of the things I really wanted to do in this episode is I want to talk to our clients' clients. I want our BDMs and our owners to be able to have a conversation about real estate with their clients, right? Just like we are. So let's forget about what everyone's doing to grow. Let's forget about property managers. Let's talk about real estate investing. Let's talk about the market. Let's talk about what's happening. One of the things that I'm seeing happening, I'll share with you guys, is we know about build to rent. We've talked about that on a previous episode when I was on vacation, and you guys had an amazing episode. I'm just going to be anecdotal. I'm just going to talk about, in my neighborhood, there was this great golf course a couple blocks away, and Nuvo Boca was built, which is the name of the local, group. It's a Canadian company that's building all over the U.S. and Canada, which is amazing. They came and they bought a golf course. And they built 250 plus 2 to 3 to 4 bedroom homes, right? These things are renting for $6 to $8K. Brand new construction, perfect build to rent. they're not selling them to investors. They're going to own them themselves. But what does that do to me as an investor? So let's say I'm moving out of this house and I rent it out. They just redefined what A-class looks like in my market. And I think that's happening a lot. Everybody knows, everybody's talking about like the big multifamily boom, and everybody's got the gyms and the saunas and everything. And they're basically like redefining what A-class means in your market. So if you owned an A-class property, you need to know that people are building new A-class properties. And what does that mean for your property? That means you become a B-class property, which is crazy, right? Nobody ever thinks their A-class property is going to become a B-class property. But what makes a A-class property become a B-class property? It's somebody else building in your market with a newer, brand new, better property. And that means that you are going to be fighting for that. So when we're talking to investors, we're talking to owners, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm going to buy here. I have this property. I'm doing that. What are the things that we should be thinking about? And I know I just focused on this, brand new like A-class property, but that's something I'm going to be talking about is like, are you keeping up to date? Are you managing your property in a way that's going to keep it in the class that you are? Or are you just minimizing maintenance for the rest of your life and just basically trying to keep that property going on? So I'm just curious what you guys think. I think everyone on this call is a real estate investor in its own right. We're talking to people all the time. What are the things that we should be saying to our clients? And Reece, I'll let you go first. What's the narrative today that's going to make us sound like a trusted advisor?
So favorite things kind of puts me back in the BDM role. I love talking to an investor or even accidental landlord saying it's no longer a property. It's now a business. And we've got to manage it as such. We've got competitors in our market. We've got to make sure we stay up to date on the experiences that Jen was mentioning, which either is the service that the property management company is providing or the functional amenities in the home. So we take that and we look at each individual property, not as a whole, but that particular property. And what can we do as a business to beat our competition? And it could be something as simple as a fresh repaint. It could be something as crazy as putting in a pool. Like there's a lot of different things that we need to look at, but we need to operate that rental property as a business. And when you can have that kind of conversation with a property owner, you put them in a different mindset, and it does make you become that trusted advisor going through that, because a lot of property management companies are not talking to them like that. They're so focused on selling their services, they forget truly about that owner's business and the financial situation they have today and where they want to be 1, 3, 5, 10 years from now as they hold that unit.
That's great. Jen, you want to add anything to that or have any different opinions?
I agree with Reece 100%, but I would say that if I'm a PM company and I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of a PM owner or a BDM and things that I feel like I should be talking about to my investors, there's really 3 things that come to the top of mind. One is that I want everyone in this market to be really educated on the fact that rents are slowly increasing, but insurance is increasing and property taxes are increasing. For my investment property, I just got notification that starting in September, my mortgage went up because they did an assessment on the house and therefore my property tax went up, right? So rents are slowly increasing, but so are costs. And because of those assessments and because of those increased costs on insurance and taxes, you need to be aware that your new landlords, your accidental landlords, your investors, it doesn't really matter who you're talking to, are really increasing more, or they're seeing more pressure on the costs of things. And if you can be sensitive to that and aware of it and aware of this affordability crunch that we're seeing happen, and you can overcome those objections with long-term financial predictions and the influence of what a prospect's mindset should be when they invest in real estate, you're going to be well positioned. So what I would tell everybody is, as a property management owner, as a BDM, be super, super focused on being able to overcome not just price objections when it comes to what you charge for your service, but just overall affordability objections. The other thing that I would be armed with is the best time to invest in real estate was 20 years ago, but the second best time is today. So it's all about creating the right mindset and putting the right message out there into the marketplace and being careful about what you're sharing and what you're kind of perpetuating. The other thing I would say is that, we have to be aware in most states, everything is tightening down as far as landlord tenant laws. So there are new restrictions on fair housing, and there are new restrictions on the way that we can screen tenants. And a lot of the laws are becoming more tenant friendly and less landlord friendly. So that means increased risk for our landlords. So again, if we can speak to that, we can ease some of that concern and sell professional property management over self-management. Last thing I'm seeing, sorry, Jeremy, I'm just full of it. There's too much of it. The last thing I think we should be talking about is the kinds of properties that we should be encouraging investors to invest in. Now, if you're an accidental landlord, you probably don't have any say in what you're investing in because you just happen to be living in it or happens to be handed down to you. But if it's an investor asking for advice, I know that larger properties in my market are starting to be more attractive to tenants. I think that's because people are working from home and they need more space, home office space. But I also think that it's because there's a ton of frustrations for first-time home buyers around buying a home. So people are actually purchasing homes later and later and later on in life, meaning that they're progressing, they're growing families, they're going out of smaller spaces and they're wanting bigger spaces. So for me, my investment strategy is to purchase larger and larger homes. I'm not trying to purchase a 6,000 square foot home, although you could, because I do see some different things in the luxury market than I do in like a middle market. I think you need to be focused on purchasing some larger homes with more space where a tenant can comfortably grow in a rental rather than doing the really hard thing of going out there and battling the seller's market that we're seeing and battling the interest rates and all of the different stuff that's happening right now. So create that space for those tenants that they can grow into and appreciate for a really long time.
This is great, Jen. I think you pre-answered my next question, which I love it. I love what you just said. Like, what are you betting on? And I'm, you and I obviously talk about investing all the time, and I agree with you. So I just want to talk about, I want to bring it full circle. I want to talk about asset class, the difference. There is no national housing market, right? Like we talked about. Like that's the hardest thing. Go to dinner parties. If you're in property management, you're in real estate, like you're going out and everyone's like, oh, housing market sucks. Like prices are going to crash. People like want to over generalize, but we know that's not true. So just like we were talking about, here in Boca, there's probably 9 high rises being built in downtown. And I've got some friends that are looking about their leases up and they're moving. And these, 1-2 bedroom, multifamily, high rise, Class A properties are competing. We talk about Grand Cardone a lot. He's got 3 10X properties here in Boca Raton. And these things are amazing, right? Like the best of the best properties, everything you can possibly imagine, except for they don't have 4 walls. They don't have a backyard. There's no 4 bedrooms. Like it's not the asset like Jen was just talking about, the bigger and bigger properties, right? So it's an amazing property for maybe like a 20 to 35-year-old, but it's probably not the right property for somebody who's building, their life. We hear from so many people about Renters Nation, and Ken McElroy, who I follow a lot, just says, okay, it's harder and harder. We know it with the rates and the scarcity of inventory. It's harder to buy that forever home that used to just be like such a no-brainer. So this podcast is really for our clients and how we're talking to them. If you guys were investing, what would you invest in? So Jen, you gave me your answer, which is amazing. Reece, I want to know, what do you think? I know that the budget was short this year. We did not send out the crystal balls at RentScale like we usually do. But if we did, what would you be investing in?
So my personal favorite would probably be townhouses, like fee simple townhouses, so that you have all of the community that comes with that. Typically, they have an HOA with a pool, playground, so it's very family oriented. You get a garage, so you have which in Florida, those are really storage units, not a garage. So you get that aspect of it. but also you get a lot of the other things taken care of as far as maintenance. You know, your yard's done for you. Typically the roof is all covered under the HOA versus it being an individual policy. So me in particular, I love that aspect. That is probably where I would lean to, but I would also say, to Jen's point, having the more space, and just as simple as a flex room in today's environment, to have a home office, growing family, where you could have a nursery in there, just having that 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom home with some extra space in there so that they can make it their own. That's what's truly going to have someone in there that will stay for a long time, grow a family there, grow their careers, so that they are in place. They don't feel like they're in a rental home. They're actually in their home, not just a house. So that would be my 2 angles to look at it.
That was great. So things that come up on this call that I think we should be talking to our clients about, if you're watching this, is insurance. Reece and I live in Florida. Jen is unfortunately stuck in Colorado. Sorry about that. But like, my insurance on the property that I live in over 7 years has tripled. Like, I've literally watched it triple. Reece, I don't know what you're going through. I'm more on the coast. I'm not like super on the coast, but I'm still on the coast. I'm like 6 miles from the ocean. And I know that like, I actually was pretty engaged in buying something in Ocala, and I backed off because as soon as you put the insurance numbers in, the whole pro forma breaks down. So I think this is a great topic we should be talking about, right? So if you're being a thought leader and you're talking to your clients and your owners, you should be saying, hey, here is how the real estate game has changed. I think that all prospecting, I talked about this at Sales Mastery last year. I think that the number one question that you should always be ready to ask is, what's new? What's changed, right? And to me, insurance has changed the game of real estate investing. New Class A properties coming on to the market has changed the game, right? So my house would have been a Class A property, and then they just built 250 homes a couple blocks away. It's a game changer, right? This is what you need to be talking to your clients about. Reece, Jen, what are the other game changers? What's new? What do we need to be talking about that's just different than it used to be? If you already said it, that's totally fine. But I want to kind of close with that. So I'll let you start, Jen. What's new in real estate investing?
So I think something that we need to be talking about and that we're leaning heavily into in Scale Club is, because of the affordability and because where things are going, I think there's really 2 different asset classes that are going to rise up and that people are going to talk about. So one is going to be the luxury, we'll call it luxury, single family homes that maybe boomers move into, or first-time homebuyers who are a little bit older and more well-off, have incredibly good jobs, whatever, coming out of college in a lot of different industries. But then I think that we are going to see a ton about multifamily and build-to-rent communities. I just think that like, the luxury side is more for me personally, because it's probably more what I would invest in and see myself purchasing into. But I think that we as a community need to be ready to talk about multifamily and build to rent. So I'm looking at a couple of conferences coming up here in August, September, October, and heading to those to be able to talk about those and what's going on. But I was looking at statistics the other day, and there are more multifamily starts from GCs and developers than there have ever been in history. I think it said something like 400,000 projects are sitting in the wings, kind of waiting nationwide. And so I think that multifamily and build to rent are going to be huge. Knowing how to grow your property management company by selling property management to those types of properties and how you speak to those investors is going to be incredibly impactful. So I think we're going to be talking about that, or we should be talking about that and ready for that in RPM companies.
Agreed. Reece, what do you have to add to that?
Just would say the resident experience. I think that we've shifted into that world where residents want more. So how do we, from the moment that they look at the property to the experience they get throughout their stay at the property, that's going to impact in the long run the financial performance of that property overall. Unpopular opinion, but I talk about it all the time, is the residents actually are paying customer in property management. it's not the owner, because they're going to be the one staying in there paying that rent check every month that gets dispersed to all parties. So we need to focus on that. If we don't have the right owner that's taking care of the property, he's probably not going to get the right tenant that's going to stay for a long time, and it's not going to be the best relationship. So I think constantly looking at how our resident experience looks from the time that the home's on the market to the phone calls they make for maintenance, how fast are we responding to them, to all the other secondary benefits that they get from using our property management services, is going to differentiate us from our competitors in the market when we have that property out there for rent.
Love it. Reece, I'm gonna put you right back on the spot. And Jen, I'm gonna ask you next. We need to be thinking about our clients all the time. Like, we think about our property managers, but our property managers need to be thinking about their investors. Contrary to what you just said, Reece, which I totally appreciate. What's the message that our managers should be sharing with their audience, right? Like, what's the one thing that they should be telling them on every single sales call or every single social media post, Reece? Like, what do you think our managers should be talking about right now?
They should be talking about how they're innovating their property management game, that they're never complacent. Even though we offer all this today, we have monthly meetings, quarterly meetings, whatever your cadence is, on what's our next thing that we can do to make your property perform even better, your tenants stay even longer, so that you become wealthier over time. And if you lead with innovation, which is kind of the world that we live in now, that needs to resonate with every person that you talk to that's interested in your services.
Wait, this is crazy. That sounds like it has nothing to do with the market conditions. It sounds like it's 100% in the control of the property manager. Like, this is crazy talk. Are you saying that every property manager can actually just create their own destiny? Is that what you're saying?
I am saying, if you put the path out there and you work hard enough, you have the right people, process, and technology, you can be an industry leader, or you can watch what the rest of the industry does and leaves you behind. 100%.
Whew. It's got cold in here. I'm glad I'm wearing my jacket. Jen, what do you think everybody's talking about? What should everybody be talking about to their clients?
Jeremy, why would I even try after Reece's answer? That just seems ridiculous.
I like it. Got it. Yes, I love that, Reece and Jen. The market matters, and we need to be educated on the market, right? But at the end of the day, the market just matters a lot less than what we're doing with our business, right? Isn't that what we talk about here all the time at RentScale? Like, I mean, the industry, my closing thoughts are, the industry is just still so immature, and there's still so much opportunity that I'm much more excited about the crazy shit that people can do versus like what's happening in the industry. So appreciate you guys. Reece, Jen, if you guys have any closing thoughts, let me know. But I think that was a great place to leave it. Team, if you want to hear more from these kinds of leaders, come to Sales Mastery. Keep watching This Week in PM. You guys are doing the hard work. We're just trying to help you guys see it from a better vantage point, from a little bit higher level, right? One of my favorite entrepreneurial sayings is, you can't read the label from inside the jar. We're trying to show up, share some ideas with you guys that you may be missing in the day-to-day. But if you wanted more information, reach out to RentScale. We've got even more coaches, just as brilliant and attractive and good looking as Reece and Jen, that you could also be doing business with. And I just stay out of the way, and I host a show to share with you what they're actually doing. So thank you guys. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Got it. All right. I'm just going to share an event calendar before we wrap up. But first, just one more quick word from our sponsor.
Hi there. Did you know that RentScale hosts one of the largest communities of property management sales professionals in North America? Well, my name is Reece Register, and I'm actually a previous BDM and currently a scale coach here at RentScale. We provide over 20 hours monthly of teaching and training and accountability to make sure that our BDMs are supercharging their sales business through inbound, outbound, and allbound. So if you're interested in learning more about supercharging your business, go over to rentscale.com. We'll be glad to schedule a consult and see how we can help you transform your business today.
All right, guys, really appreciate my coaching team and all the information, the prep that they've done. Want to go through some quick calendar dates very quickly and then wrap up. So excited to see you guys again soon. We've been in the summer doldrums where we're not getting together because everybody's so freaking busy in property management, and I totally appreciate that. Next time I might have the fortune of running into you, we'll be at NARPM Southern States, August 27th, 29th. Jen and I are speaking. Got an amazing piece of content that we've never shared before, and I'm really excited to share that with you guys. So that's August 27th to 29th at the NARPM Southern States. It's in partnership with the Florida State Conference, and it's in Sandestin, Florida. And trust me, if you haven't booked your tickets yet, it's harder to get there than you think it is. So book it now. Next time we might see you is September 16th to 18th, the Texas-style NARPM Conference in Austin, which we will see you guys at Sales Mastery. After that, we won't be there, but we love our friends over at Property Meld. They're having a Property Meld Maintenance Summit in Rapid City, South Dakota. Maybe that may actually be harder to get to than Sandestin, and that makes a lot of sense. That is September 18th to 20th. But, you know, good property management content is always worth finding a way to get there. Then we get into December, the South by Southwest of property management. December 3rd to 5th, our good friends at Lead Simple are hosting their second annual Lead Simple University in Austin, Texas. And if it's anywhere near as good as it was last year, holy schmoly, you're going to be blown away. Jen and I will also be speaking there as well, and I think it's going to be absolutely amazing. The following day, just prepare to have your face melted off. We are having RentScale's Sales Mastery in Austin, Texas on December 6th. It's a Friday. I highly encourage you guys to stick around in Austin. Go to Terry Black's. Get the sausage that has, I think it's cheese and jalapeno in it. I don't know what it is. Just amazing. Just go get it. Get the brisket. Highly recommend it. That's what we're doing the rest of the year. Hope to see you guys. Come up, say hi. Let us know what events we're missing. We'd love to see you there. We put a ton of time into this, and we're trying to help you guys. Please like and subscribe. Share this with your friends. We're on all the platforms. I appreciate you being here for a full hour. I know we went a little long. That's what's happening this week in PM.